Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Ohio.
Well, it is another picture-perfect day here in the Queen City, and this is a bittersweet day because no matter how the season has gone, the last home game is always a little sad for fans, and today, that's the story at Great American Ballpark as we wrap up the home schedule for 2017. It's the Red Sox and the Reds here on Fox Sports Ohio. And hi, everyone, and welcome once again to Reds Baseball, along with Chris Welsh and Jim Day. I'm Jim Kelch. Well, the Reds certainly haven't won, Chris, as many games as they had hoped this year, but the one thing that's been solid about this club in 2017 has been the defense.
Well, the defense has been outstanding. We've talked on and on about how good the infield defense is, but the one thing that's overlooked is how good your outfield defense is. And with Billy Hamilton in center field, he runs down everything. But how about the arms? I mean, 39 outfield assists by the Reds. That's the most since back in 1990. Adam Duvall's got 15 of them, and you would think by now the third base coaches around baseball would learn not to run on these guys, but that is not the case. They continue to throw them out on a regular basis.
And Duvall has 2 in this series alone and leads the major leagues with those 15 assists. Now the starting pitchers for this final home game and the wrap-up of this 3-game series. Reds trying to avoid this sweep. They'll send the rookie Jackson Stevens to the mound, and he is opposed by a guy that the Reds have seen before, but not wearing a Boston uniform, Doug Fister.
Well, he was wearing a Washington Nationals uniform, and he won 16 games a few years ago with the Nationals. Big, tall right-hander. He's 6 feet 8 inches tall. He's not overpowering by any means, and Fister is really fighting for a spot in the rotation in the postseason. So he's got some extra motivation going. Jackson Stevens gets a start on his, his second consecutive start. He went through the lineup the first time, no problem. Second time through, he had some problems. Let's see if he's able to make an adjustment here this afternoon.
All right, that's the matchup here today at Great American Ballpark. Reds, Red Sox, as I wrap up this 3-game get-together. We'll take a break. When we come back, a special moment at the ballpark yesterday. Jim Day will have more.
Hey there, meteorologist Erica Calora. It's going to be another hot one at the ballpark today against the Red Sox. No rain to speak of, though, but we'll see plenty of sunshine. Temperatures will be around 84 degrees by the start of the game. We'll be soaring into the upper 80s by the end of the game. Plenty of sunshine. I hope you enjoy the game on Fox Sports Ohio. Let's go Reds!
All right, closing out the home schedule for 2017, and we were treated to a feel-good moment at the end of yesterday's game. It was father and son. Luke Farrell, the relief pitcher for the Reds, got to pitch against his dad's team, John Farrell, the manager of the Boston Red Sox. The two have never even been on the same field before, let alone a major league field. Luke Farrell got a strikeout, got out of the inning, and how about the tip of the cap from Dad? That was good stuff. Let's hear from father and son.
You know, it was somewhat surreal, very proud. You know, you're standing there looking through a netting in the dugout, and you think you're, you know, maybe watching them throw back in Little League to high school to, you know, so many of the different stages. But to see it happen on a major league mound, a special day, a special inning. And like I said, extremely, extremely proud of him.
Yeah, a little added pressure for sure. I think that's the first time we've been on the same field together. So, you know, you want to do well for your team, obviously, but with your dad right there, you want to do a little bit better, I guess.
That's a lot of people that have played this game. And if that's the first combination, maybe if it's denoted as the first, you know, it's a proud day, but that makes it even that much more unique.
Very unique and very, very special. Fan Appreciation Day, the final home game of the 2017 season. The Reds will try to close it out with a victory. It's the Reds and Red Sox. Coming up on the home for Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio, Jim Kelch and Chris Welsh standing by with the call.
For the young man, it's an every game occurrence here at Great American. Youngsters on the field, Reds players going out there, sign the baseball, and then get down to the business of playing this game, which will be today, the 81st and final home game of the schedule, the 156th. After today, just 6 remain. 3 in Milwaukee beginning on Tuesday, and then next weekend at Wrigley Field, Chicago, and that then would close out the 2017 regular season. Let's take a look at the Boston lineup today, brought to you by Menards, as they look to sweep the Reds. Reds try to avoid that fate, of course. Xander Bogaerts in the #1 spot, then Dustin Pedroia back in there, and Andrew Benintendi. Betts, Moreland, and Devers the middle 3 for Boston. Jackie Bradley Jr. 7th. Catching in this game, Sandy Leon, and the pitching is the right-hander Doug Fister, batting ninth. On the mound for the Reds, 23-year-old Jackson Stephens.
Well, he gets his third start of the season, Steven does. His first one was back on July the 1st against the Chicago Cubs. 5 innings, 3 runs. Not bad at all for a debut for Stephens. Remember, he's only 23 years old. Last start out against the St. Louis Cardinals, it was going great until the 4th inning rolled around, and he ended up giving up a 5 spot in that inning, including a 3-run home run by Yadier Molina, another one by Paul DeJong, and that was all for Stephens. So, you know, he's going to have the advantage of the Red Sox not having been seen by him before, but he's got to make some adjustments that second time through the lineup.
All right, we're ready to go here on this beautiful Sunday at Great American Ballpark. Jackson Stephens, the 23-year-old out of Anniston, Alabama, against Xander Bogaerts to get it going. First pitch is in there for a strike. We are underway. 87 degrees here at GABP.
Just the way we like it.
You bet. It was a beautiful day yesterday and another one here today. Jackson Stephens, 6'2", 220-pounder, as Chris mentioned, made his debut back in July against the Cubs. And then that last start, he really got off to a good beginning when he retired the first 10 Cardinals he faced, but things changed after that. Cardinals went on to win that game 8-7. Stephens not involved in the decision of that one, which went 10 innings. Working near the bottom of the zone, he gets a strike call, 2-2.
Looks like he's trying to live right down there at the bottom of the zone. Nice little sink on that fastball so far for Stephens. You know, pitching at the bottom of the zone is very much like pitching at the top of the zone. You know, you hear people say, well, he got the ball up, and you naturally think, well, that's waist high. But really, for a guy that lives down around the knees, getting the ball up is about 2 inches above the knees. That's a very hittable pitch compared to 1-2 inches below the knees.
Tapper, this is a swinging bunt that will roll and roll foul. Picked up by Barnhart. Take a look at the Reds' defensive setup here this afternoon, brought to you by your Ford dealers. Duvall, Hamilton, Schebler in the outfield. Billy played on Friday, off yesterday, back in there today. Suarez, Cozart, Jeanette, Votto third to first. Stephens throws to Tucker Barnhart. Tucker making his 100th start of the year today. There's Billy out in center field, back in there. With Tucker making his 100th start, the Reds have 9 players this year that have made 100 or more starts, and that's a franchise record. Cozart to his left throws out Bogaerts, and so the Reds retire him to start a game in this series for the first time in the 3 that have been played. Kind of Iron Man stuff, really, when you talk about Barnhart with 100 starts. Votto, Duvall, Suarez, Hamilton, Schebler, Peraza, Cozart, Jeanette, and now Barnhart, 100 starts or more each.
Well, you know, Brian Price likes to set lineup. He has shown that to us this year. He's not really one of these managers that weaves his extra guys in there very often. But at the same time, he's had an opportunity with Cozart to get some rest to some other guys because of his injury. Injury to Devin Mesoraco warrants the fact that Barnhart's going to play more. So there's some reasons behind the frequency of the starting lineup that go beyond the manager's preference.
Here's Dustin Pedroia now back in the lineup today. He played on Friday. He's had a left knee issue, and that had him on the bench yesterday. Back in there today.
I'll tell you, I love to watch this guy play. I mean, he just brings so much energy. I mean, he is full out, going 90 north all the time.
Numbers milestone of sorts today also for Pedroia. This is the 1,500th game he has played in his Red Sox career, becoming the 11th player to accomplish that. He is rung up here for out number 2. Of the other 10, 9 are in the Baseball Hall of Fame, and the one that is not so far is David Ortiz.
Nice little moving fastball right there. Boy, oh boy, if Jackson Stephens can get a feel of that pitch, that will make things a whole lot easier for him at this level.
And a big hand now with 2 out, nobody on. For the Madeira High School graduate, Andrew Benintendi. He's come in here to town to play these 3 games amidst a lot of fanfare, a lot of family and friends here at the ballpark each of these 3 days. He went 0 for 3 on Friday, but reached base twice. Finally got a hit in the 7th inning yesterday, so he's 1 for 7 with an RBI and a couple of walks in this series.
He may get a bigger applause in hand than we're used to seeing already in this series, because it is Madeira Day here at Great American Ballpark. They sold over 1,000 tickets. A lot of those folks are sitting up there in the left field bleachers right now. Of course, he's playing in left field, so they'll be offering advice throughout the entire game to him,
just in case he needs it. 3-1. Benintendi's very fine rookie year, Chris, has certainly been overshadowed by that of Aaron Judge in New York in terms of Rookie of the Year status.
Well, Judge gets all the sizzle because when he hits a home run, they don't ask how many runners are on base. They ask how far it went. And he's having just an incredible year, Judge is. And you're right. I think that kind of sizzle just overshadows the very consistent year that Benintendi has had and the positive effect that he's had on the Boston Red Sox.
Here's the comparison of the two. A little bit better average for Judge. The home runs and RBIs dwarf those of Benintendi, as do the strikeouts.
That's what people look at right there, is that home run number.
Yeah. There's Mookie Betts with a runner aboard, 2 out. That's another one who did not play yesterday, had a left knee bruise when he fouled the ball off his knee on Friday in the first game of the series. Out yesterday, back in there today. That's a 263. 23 homers, 96 runs batted in. Following up a very good year, in fact an all-star and Gold Glove year a year ago. A pretty darn good second year as well. Boston shutout win here yesterday marked their 3rd shutout victory in their last 4 games. They won both of the final 2 against Baltimore in shutout fashion.
Well, the Red Sox do it with pitching. They've got an outstanding bullpen. I mean, they have been able to shorten games, so if they've got the lead from the 6th inning on, it's awfully tough to get the lead from them. They also do it with little ball. And if you look up and down this roster, you're going to see a whole lineup full of players that are 5'10" and under, which kind of goes against the grain of the modern day thought that, you know, baseball players need to be big and strong. They don't believe that in Boston.
Well, to what you're saying, Red Sox relievers have not allowed a run in their last 18 innings worth of work.
That'll work.
They come into this series in terms of their bullpen 2nd in the American League at 3.08. In fact, every pitching category in the American League, they are 2nd behind the Cleveland Indians. Runner going. And a strikeout of Mookie Betts. So 2 of them in the first. And a nice first inning turned in by Jackson Stevens. Fox Sports Ohio is brought to you by Chevy. Check out their award-winning lineup only at your tri-state Chevy dealer. By Skyline Chili, feeling good. It's Skyline time. And by Cincinnati Children's, changing the outcome together. Take a look at the Reds lineup here for this Sunday afternoon finale at home against Boston. They will line up like this, brought to you by Menards. Billy Hamilton, Zach Cozart, Joey Votto the top. Scooter Gennett, Eugenio Suarez, Scott Schebler in the middle. Adam Duvall again back in the 7th spot. Then Tucker Barnhart, and then Jackson Stevens against his 33-year-old right-hander Doug Fister.
Well, Doug Fister, the veteran, was signed by the Red Sox really right in the middle of the year. I mean, they needed pitching. David Price was wounded and on the DL. They weren't sure what they were going to do with their starters. So they picked up a guy that had some experience that had been recently released. He was with the Houston Astros last year, making his 213th Major League start.
Finley is rung up. You bring up an interesting point, Chris, that he was with Houston last year. He won 12 games with the Astros, and yet somehow couldn't find a job at spring training.
Well, you know, there are a lot of general managers out there that still are looking for those pitchers with velocity. They're looking for lots of strikeouts, and Fister has never been that guy. Even though he's been drafted 3 times as an amateur, they drafted him primarily because of his height and because of his control. And he's had some pretty good years, including being a 16-game winner for the Washington Nationals in 2014.
Yeah, that 14 season was his best. 16-6 with a 2.41 ERA as Cozart singles. Zach was held hitless yesterday, dropped down to the 300 mark. That's the first hit of this game. On either side, he's on with 1 out. Going back to Fister, he has had a lot of success against the Reds. He's made 3 career starts against Cincinnati, all with the Nationals. All are quality starts, and he's 2-0 with a 1.35 ERA lifetime against Cincinnati.
But the most recent trend for Fister is not very good at all. He's given up 11 runs over his last 2 games. That only covers about 5 innings. So he's walked 5 batters his last time out. So I imagine that for today, Fister very motivated to have a good outing because he wants to be on that postseason roster, and throwing strikes is probably at the top of his list.
We talked about it some yesterday and a little bit even on Friday about how many starters does a team need in the playoffs. Certainly they only needed 3 last year because they were swept, but most teams will pick 4 to say these are our guys, and they have probably 6 options to go to.
Well, Eduardo Rodriguez looked awfully good yesterday.
Certainly their number 1 will be Chris Sale, and then Rodriguez, he looked, as you said, very sharp. Drew Pomeranz has done a nice job for this team this year. Will they move David Price back into a starter's role for the playoffs, or will he continue to work out of the bullpen? That's a question that will need to be answered for Boston. Votto disagrees with that call of Mark Wegner. Turns and heads back to the dugout as out number 2 is recorded.
Yeah, right there, according to our Fox tracks. Anyway, you know, I got to tell you, very interesting the way the Red Sox have come in here and pitched Joey Votto. They've kept him very quiet. He has walked a couple of times, but they have just basically pitched him inside. Every pitch is inside, either up or down, crowding the inner corner of the plate.
So it's Gennett now with 2 out. Down the right field line. That'll head toward the corner. Cozart toward third as the right fielder Mookie Betts will get it back in. Here comes Zach to the plate. Throw goes into second. Run will score. And now Gennett is going to be in a rundown and tagged out by Devers, the third baseman. But a run does score. Scooter Gennett gets RBI number 94. And the Reds in the first jumped in front 1-0. reminder that we'll have a Miller Time moment of the game a little bit later on, brought to you by Miller Lite. Take a look at that last play and break it down, Chris.
Well, you know, Scooter Gennett with a grand slam the first series of the first game of this series. A lot of offense here in the first inning. He does it again with a double down the right field line. Now Cozart's going to score from first base, no problem. Now Gennett is thinking that the throw is going to go home. And if the throw goes home, I'm going to go to third base. He's watching the play at the plate, and lo and behold, the throw comes into a relay man. Eventually, Devers gets to the third base and tags him out. So there's making your third out at third. In my mind, great job by Scooter to get the run in. Not so great making your third out of third when the Reds have a little bit of a rally. Hey, remember what happened in that first game? Gennett hits a grand slam home run, and the Reds don't score again the rest of the game after the first inning. Preserve those chances with runners on base, especially when you're in the middle of the lineup and they have the number 4 hitter coming up next.
Reds get the run home, so they do snap a streak that had reached 17 consecutive innings without scoring since that grand slam by Gennett in the first inning on Friday night. Mitch Moreland leads it off for Boston here in the second.
I'll tell you what I'm seeing today from Jackson Stephens that we did not see his last outing against the St. Louis Cardinals. There's a lot of movement on that little two-seam fastball. I mean, if you've got that movement, you use it. You keep it down and you work the corner. And what we haven't seen so far today very much is a breaking ball. It seemed like last time out he really fell in love with that curveball, and it ended up getting him into some trouble. Oh.
3-1.
That's a pretty good pitch for a 23-year-old. You take a little bit off your fastball. His normal fastball is at 94. That's 91. Gives a little bit extra time for some movement.
Nice play by Cozart, and got him at first base. Heck of a play by Zach. That throw came from his knee in the hole of the shortstop spot.
Actually, Suarez out there making that play as he goes on his belly to make it and then throws from his knees. A strong throw. Of course, Suarez came into the Reds organization as a shortstop when he was traded over here from the Detroit Tigers. Well, that's a big league play. Nice scoop at the other end by Votto. Really nice scoop.
So the Reds had the shift on there, and so Cozart was on the other side. And what a heck of a play by Suarez. So now here's Rafael Devers, the third baseman. Devers yesterday a hit, 1 for 3 with a walk. Votto, nice play to his right, feeds Stephens. 2 out. Didn't we talk about great Reds defense at the top of the broadcast?
I'll tell you, we did. We had the emphasis on outfield defense, but we should be talking about infield defense, especially today. If Jackson Stephens is going to keep that ball down and get some ground balls, why not? Look at Votto. Like a big vacuum cleaner down there here. He's already scooped the bad throw in the dirt, and he makes a nice backhanded play there.
2 fine defensive plays and 2 out here in the top of the second.
I mean, if the Reds don't make those exceptional plays, think about where you are if you're Jackson Stephens. You've probably got runners at least at first and second, maybe first and third. Nobody out in the inning. Instead of 2 out, nobody on, and you're just cruising right on through the second.
Jackie Bradley Jr. now with 2 out, nobody on. In the air, down the left field side, Duvall closing. Duvall has it, and that turns out to be a 1-2-3 second for Jackson Stephens.
2017 season. So let's give you some walk-offs, shall we? Take it back to May 1st versus the Pirates. 10th inning, Billy Hamilton, RBI double. Scores Arizmendi Alcantara. And big ups for Billy. That was the first walk-off of the season. We got more to come throughout the afternoon.
Thank you, Jim. Well, just glad to have Billy back in there in the lineup here late in the season. He missed a couple of weeks with that thumb injury, but played on Friday, had a couple of hits. Back in there again today and out in center field. Suarez leading it off here in the bottom of the second. .26 home runs, 81 RBIs for Suarez. Go along with his .263 average. He is called out, and that's the first out of the inning. Take a look at the Red Sox defensive setup, brought to you by your Ford dealers. It's Benintendi out in left, Bradley Jr. in center, Betts is in right, the three Bs across the outfield. Devers at third, Bogarts at short, Pedroia and Moreland make up the right side. Sandy Leon doing the catching today for the 33-year-old out of Merced, California. Doug Fister. There's Andrew Benintendi out in left field. Interleague play, it won't see the Red Sox probably come through for at least another 3 years. So certainly has enjoyed his 3 days here in Cincinnati with family and friends and a couple of his team wins. That ball handled at first by Moreland. So Schebler now 2 for his last 18, and there are 2 out.
Tell you what, Doug Fister's got a pace out there between pitches, and when he gets the baseball ready to go, like they've already got the team bus warmed up. He is getting after it.
Gets the first 2, now deals with Adam Duvall. Been a very tough second half of the season for this native of Louisville, Kentucky, Adam Duvall. Hitting only .195 since the break. .169 here in the month of September. 0 for 5 in this series, 1 for his last 21. Right now his average is a few points higher than it ended a year ago. Still 2 home runs behind his pace of last year, where he hit 33, this year 31. 6 RBIs away from what he did a year ago, 103 to 97. And in a major funk since the break. And he is called out on strikes. Mark Wegner getting that right arm going today. There's another strikeout. That's 4 of them by Fister. One mobile app for live Reds baseball. Stay connected with a fully customizable experience. Get Reds home screen icons and app features, as well as game day, live game video highlights, radio broadcasts, StatsCast, news, and more. Download MLB.com at bat today. 1-0 Reds after 2. Yeah, it's a little warm out here today. We had the cool weather a couple of weeks ago. Now for the last week or so, it's been summer-like. We, of course, are in the fall officially as of last Friday, 2 days ago. There's Sandy Leon to lead off inning number 3 for Boston. Pitcher next, Pfister, then the top of the order. I'm going to get him wired up here, and we're going to visit with Bronson Arroyo here in the 3rd inning. This guy lately has been everywhere. I mean, honored on the field yesterday, performed on the field after the game last night. Down, I saw him in the pregame show for Boston prior to the game. Up here in the booth now, and then next inning over there in the Boston booth. Welcome in, Bronson.
Thank you. I tell you what, I haven't been up here very many times, and the game, I think, is a little bit more enjoyable from up here.
Looks easier up here.
It's a lot easier, I can tell you that.
Yeah, it's a little slower, but it's a nice perspective, I think. You know, in the dugout, you can't see as much down there as you think, and this is just nice.
You know what you really appreciate up here is how the defenses have changed over the years. And what do you think about the shift and so on? You used to like to direct the guys in the infield where to play. Now the team's got somebody to do that for them.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I think it's a double-edged sword. I mean, there's so many times that you get burned, with the shift, and there's other times that it's fantastic, and it's hard to tell. I think you really have to run the numbers. I think you have to trust the math of the game, and you know, if it says a guy pulls the ball to the right side 80% of the time, you just have to play those odds. I mean, and when we're out there on the mound, we can be emotional sometimes. There'll be a dribbler hit right at the shortstop you think should be a double play. You turn around and Cozart's behind second base. But I think you just got to live with that and go with the the math.
Double by Leon leads off here in the top of the 3rd. Listen, Bronson, how's your voice feeling today?
Not that bad, but I tell you what, that was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. It was really hot out there yesterday, and those songs that I picked are not easy to sing. They were all monsters, and I've been singing for 6 weeks to get in shape for that, and I still felt like somebody had taken one of my lungs out. It was tough. I mean, I've been to a lot of Pearl Jam shows, and to see Eddie Vedder do 32, 35 songs a night at age 50-something, jump around the stage and play that guitar. I mean, I did 8 songs, and I felt like I'd run a Boston Marathon. It was tough.
Well, I know you've been on the stage a lot with Eddie Vedder and with others. You performed here and there, but was this really the first time that you were like the main act in front of this big a crowd?
No, I've played a few other times like that, but normally I would play some of those Pearl Jam songs, and I'd mix in other songs by other bands that I like Oasis and Bush and Stone Temple Pilots, and a lot of those other songs are a little easier to sing, and so you kind of get this break. But last night I didn't get a break in any of the songs. It was just one after another. They're all really, really tough. It takes a lot of oxygen to kind of keep doing that. You just don't realize, you do this for 20, 30 years. It's like me. I could go away from the game. I could come back. I'm going to be able to throw, 5 or 6 innings much quicker than a guy who hasn't played baseball. It's just kind of built into the machine now where, singers, they've been doing this for 20, 30 years the same way. They get up there and make it look easy, but it's just not.
Are Reds fans going to be able to find you out singing somewhere in the area this winter?
I don't know about this winter, but I'm going to be in town a lot. My girlfriend lives here, and I'll be around this city for probably at least a third to a half a year for a long time. So I'm going to be around. I'll wind up playing some gigs here and there. I don't know. I'll probably stop in at Reds Fest one of these years, but I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I don't have any definite plans, and I don't want to kind of say, yes, I'm going to do this or do that, because I feel like I've been kind of strapped to the game for so long that I'd like to get away from it just for a little bit.
All right, now, the culmination of a long career, 17 years, what is this week like for you, and what does it feel like when it's all coming together and all coming to an end?
It feels like my senior year of high school now, and I'm ready to go. I really am. And in 2016, when I didn't know if I was going to get back or not, I was definitely emotional, and feeling down about not being able to perform at the level that I wanted to. But after getting back I feel like I've sucked everything out of the game I possibly can. My shoulder's got tears in it. It's not going to get any better. I just don't have anything left to offer. And, so I've been sitting around for 3 months and really winding out of this game in a way that has been very enjoyable. But the games are now getting a little bit longer, and it's starting to feel like they're grating on me a little bit. So it's the last week, and I'm ready to go.
What was it like today pulling on the uniform at home for the last time?
I'm just trying to take the last 7 days now that I played the show last night. I've been preparing a lot. I've had a lot of friends in town. There's a lot of things that go along. I feel like I need a traveling secretary sometimes with all the stuff I put on my plate. and I do it all myself, but today and the next 6 games on the road, I'm just going to sit in the dugout and really enjoy baseball for the last time in a big league uniform. And try not to think about too many other things and just kind of suck it up and have a good time with the guys and really just enjoy the baseball.
So you've got a week to go, an off day tomorrow, then to Milwaukee, then to Chicago. What do you expect to feel like when that game is over at Wrigley Field and down the tunnel you go up to the clubhouse and strip off the major league uniform for the last time?
Yeah, it's been funny. I mean, people keep asking me like, you don't seem too emotional, but I feel like I went through all that in 16 when they told me my shoulder probably wasn't going to come back around. So at this point, I don't have those same feelings. It's strange, and I'm sure Chris has dealt with this when I was in the minor leagues. It was kind of like you leave high school and there's kind of like this weird thing about leaving your friends and you're not going to see them for a while, or you don't know when you're going to see them again. And then at the end of every baseball season, you have this kind of strange feeling the first couple days when you leave. You're either driving away or you're flying away, and it feels, you feel a little heartbroken in a way of what you're going to be missing. And I don't feel that too much this year. I really don't. I feel like I'm going to be fine. I'm enjoying the baseball, and I'm happy to exit.
Jeanette makes the play there. Inning comes to an end. We'll go to the bottom of the third and more when we come back with Bronson Arroyo. Third, here's Bronson. Now, this is yesterday with Dustin Pedroia presenting you with the 61. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was a fantastic surprise. I mean, for one, I didn't know they were going to give me anything, and to have the 61 out of the green monster out there in left field. I mean, who knows what year that's from? I mean, Ted Williams could have been looking at that same number. It's pretty fantastic.
And the guitar, I mean, I don't know anything about guitars, but that looked like a pretty cool guitar.
Yeah, I got a chance to meet, I don't know a lot about guitars either, but I got a chance to meet the creators of the guitar and the guy who painted the case. And Phil Castellini did a fantastic job. I mean, he'd been hustling, getting that thing done for 6 weeks. Every other company told him to do something that special was going to take him 4 months. So I got to talk to the guys, and they were telling me all the intricacies of it. It was fantastic, kind of one-offs. These things were one of a kind, It was great.
So for you, is that a display guitar or a play guitar?
I think you got to play it a little bit to find out. It's like you're not sure until afterwards. So you play it and see how it feels, and a lot of musicians talk about, you know, having a kinship with their instruments, and it's like a glove, you know. A shortstop's got to have a glove that it fits him, and you might give him one that looks exactly the same, but it might not be exactly what he likes. So I'll play it. We'll see how you enjoy it.
Bronson, you know, for a ball club like the Reds to show the outpouring of emotion the way they have with you, having a special day for you, I mean, they usually reserve times like this for Hall of Fame players.
Absolutely.
And you've been around a long time. You've meant a lot to the Reds, but I think the connection that you've had with the Reds community and the fans is the reason why you were sitting down on that stage and why you were able to perform afterward. Well, what's your message to all the fans that have watched you play here for all these years? Yeah,
I mean, I've really enjoyed this place. It's made me feel at home. Like you said, I mean, what they did for me yesterday, I never expected that, honestly. I thought they'd play a little something on the Jumbotron, and I'd wave to the crowd. They do usually reserve that for guys like David Ortiz and the Derek Jeters of the world, no doubt about it. And if I was playing in any other uniform, you know, the end of my career would have went by in a whimper. Nobody would even have noticed. And it's part of the reason why I came back here, because I didn't know what would happen. But, you know, the fans here have made me feel fantastic over the last decade playing here. I got off to a good start in '06. And, you know, I know they love their baseball here, and I feel the vibe in the city. Everywhere I go, people tell me how appreciative they are. And as I'm winding down now, I see more and more people around the ballpark that are getting an autograph from me as I'm driving in or whatever, and I can tell they're a little emotional about it. So, you know, it was a great day. You know, my friends and family couldn't have asked for anything better than that, as well as myself. And, you know, I'm looking forward to being around this organization for a while and living here at least part of the year, and coming in and cleaning the shoes with the clubhouse guys and seeing the Rick Stows of the world and coming up here and see you guys. So it's a family, man, and it feels good.
You know, one of the reasons the Reds wanted to keep you around was because of your experience, because of your knowledge of the game and knowledge of pitching. And the Reds, of course, have had all these young pitchers coming up here this year. What have you been able to impart to some of these guys, and who has listened to you?
Well, every guy down there is just a completely different animal, right? I mean, there's no one take on each guy, because everybody's got a different skill set, and they all have a different, you know, a little bit of everything, how emotional they are on the mound, or how much command they have, or, you know, and I can help some guys, and some guys I can't do anything with. Guys like Castillo and Rob Stevens, I didn't have really any conversation with those guys about pitching at all, you know, and you watch Rob kind of grow the same way Sal has, but I had some good conversations with Sal. And, you know, I talked to Ricky Davis and Amir Garrett a lot this year, and some of those guys, you know, didn't turn the corner. And some have, you know, and at the end of the day, you know, I've only got so much to give, as all of us do. We've got some knowledge, but they've got to get the experiences out on the mound. You've got to get comfortable in your skin out there, and you've seen that with Sal and Rob, where they've really kind of turned the corner, and they're becoming major league pitchers right in front of your eyes in the last couple of months. So, you know, I don't really, I've been around these guys for 6-7 months now, and I've given them everything I could. I've answered every question I could. I've given them my take on pitching and everything about preparing for this game, and I think they're just going to have to go out and do it now. I really don't have a whole lot left to give them. These guys are going to get their experiences out there. They're going to take their lumps, and you hope a guy like Castillo just keeps on doing what he's doing, and nobody has to say anything to him except, you know, great job at the end of the season.
Bronson Arroyo with us here in the booth. He wrapping up a 16-year major league career, 9 of those wearing a Reds uniform. Big day for him here yesterday, both before the game and then playing concert afterwards. And Bronson, it's been a pleasure to have you up here today, watching you perform while you were here, and good luck as things unfold for you post baseball.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Hey, let's get together again.
Yeah, that's right. Together again. I forgot that yesterday. Till next time. There it is.
These Elk and Elk storylines. This is what we were talking about. Together again. There's Bronson in the background, and there's Chris with that jacket. I wear a jacket and tie when I cook out all the time.
Well, it's a high level of cook-off when you have Bronson Arroyo serenading you. I can tell you that. We had a great time making those commercials, and they're on YouTube, and I go back and look at them from time to time. And Bronson told us in between innings that he told me a couple of weeks ago that he went back one night and watched those. He hadn't really looked at them since we made those, and he said that he would just watch over and over again and was just dying laughing as he did. We had a great time doing that.
Story goes he wanted to watch a comedy movie that night. They said, no, let's call up those commercials and crack up, and they did. That's good stuff. Benintendi lines this ball right at Jeanette, so 1 out in the 4th. Here are the ranks now for Arroyo here at Great American Ballpark. Look at that, all firsts. 55 wins, 620 strikeouts, 142 starts. He's probably as proud of that as he is anything until he left here following the 2013 season. He had never missed a start, not only professionally, but going back into his high school days, he'll tell you.
I'll tell you, 7 complete games, that probably is going to be a record that's going to stay here for a long time. The way the pitching is going nowadays, complete game is as rare as a major asteroid coming by you.
Billy on the run on this ball, and he will get to it on the warning track. He just glides after balls out there, Billy Hamilton. So 2 out. Now Bronson goes from our booth to the Boston television booth. Dave O'Brien on the right, and of course Johnny Gomes, a former Reds and Red Sox player, there on the left. Making the media rounds today.
And why not?
He's with Boston's pregame show before the game. Here, over there.
Fan Appreciation Day, Bronson Arroyo weekend. Got the Red Sox in town, Andrew Benintendi. I mean, there's a lot of feel-good subplots going on here. Of course, the Red Sox are going on to the playoffs, and the Reds are going on to rebuilding.
Red Sox won here yesterday. Yankees also won, but that lowered Boston's magic number by 1 to 5 as they enter today. Keeping track of that game in Toronto this afternoon. Toronto leads early 2-0 in the 3rd over the Yankees. There's a shift you guys were talking about earlier, and Cozart will throw out Mitch Moreland in another 1-2-3 inning, the second of the game by Stevens.
Walk-offs this year. Take it back to June 2nd. Reds score 2 in the 9th to tie it, and then Devin Mesoraco walk-off home run in the 10th. Nothing better than a walk-off home run in baseball.
Except, Jim Day, maybe a walk-off defensive play. We've had a few of those over the years. I'm not sure we've had one of those this year or not, but I love exciting endings to baseball games.
No doubt about it.
Spoken like a true pitcher.
And a diving play at third by Devers, but not in time to first. Cozart legs it out. Zach is 2 for 2 today. Reminder that if a Reds home run hits the Toyota sign during this afternoon's game, Scott Mustard, yes, Scott Mustard from Kings Mill, Ohio, will win this beautiful new Tundra that's on display here at the ballpark, thanks to Cincinnati and your Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. Good luck today to Scott Mustard. Votto was having a little conversation between innings with Mark Wegner, the home plate umpire. No doubt that called third strike against him in the first inning came up. Interesting to hear Bronson Arroyo say that he'll be around here for the next, what did he say, 4 or 5 years? In and out. Half the year or so. You never know. You may run into him on the golf course.
Oh, he'll spend a lot of time in Cincinnati. He likes Cincinnati. He's got a reason to be here. His girlfriend lives here. Of course, he's got a reason to be down in Florida as well. Long about January and February when it's not quite like it is here today. Votto had a reason to talk to the home plate umpire because he was rung up on a pitch he simply did not like his first time up. Hard to believe, really, that Votto, what he has done now was a second-round pick, and he was the third player in that 2002 draft that the Reds selected. Trivia question for you, Jim Kelch, is who are the 2 players that were selected ahead of Joey Votto in that 2002 draft by the Reds?
I believe one was Frazier. Is that correct?
Yep.
No.
I'll tell you, neither of them made the major leagues. I'm not sure if any of them even made AAA. One was Chris Grueller, and the other was Mark Schrammick. Schrammick was a third baseman, taken 40th as a supplemental pick. And Chris Grueller, of course, was the third player taken in the draft that year, was injured and never unfortunately made it to the major leagues.
Well, it's an inexact science, to say the least.
It sure is. Of course, one of the things I think that gave the Reds an advantage is that they must have had a scout up in the Toronto area to be able to watch him. There aren't all that many players taken out of Canada. Votto dedicated to baseball his entire amateur career instead of hockey, like most everybody who grows up in Canada and idolizing the NHL.
Joey brings a 25-game on-base streak into today's game. Extended it yesterday with a hit early. Reds scored in the first when Cozart was brought around on a double by Scooter Gennett. Reds off tomorrow and then we'll travel to Milwaukee. They'll start the final road trip of the year. 3 games up there at Miller Park, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then next weekend at Wrigley Field, Chicago. That'll be it. There's a base hit in the right by Votto. Cozart will turn, stop, and now get going again. Close play, and Joe West says he's out. Delay around second cost Cozart big time. Mookie Betts picked up the ball, looked up, and he saw Cozart about halfway to third, and he guns him down.
Boy, the Reds base running today leaves something to be desired. Cozart, I think, lost where the ball was. And when he looked back up and saw the ball was in right field, he thought he was going to take a shot at going to right or going to third base. He's not running that great anyway. I mean, that's full speed right there for Zach Cozart. And because Devers was put his leg down, kept Cozart from getting to the bag. That's a great defensive play. Completely legal. As long as you're receiving a throw and any active a play right there, you're able to put your body down in front of the base, and Cozart never got there.
That's a single for Votto, extending his on-base streak to 26 straight. And a out at third. Betts to Devers, 9-5. Two Reds base runners have been lost on the bases today. Jeanette between second and third in the first, and now Cozart at third here in the fourth. Speaking of, here's Scooter. Right near that 300 mark and getting closer than we ever thought he would to the 100 RBI mark. He's sitting at 94. Third on this team behind Duvall's 97, Votto's 96. And he is part of that group of 5 Reds players with 25 or more home runs. Cozart could get 2 more, they'd have 6. And he's had a lot of success against Pfister. We talked about his splits yesterday. He's well over 300 against right-handers, down in the 230 range against lefties. Seven-game hitting streak extended in the first with that double. That's a career, I should say a season high hitting streak for Jeanette, now at 8. He becomes a strikeout victim, and that is 8 of them now by Doug Pfister. Well, this postseason in baseball, get ready for excitement, drama, and thrilling plays. It's the 2017 Major League Baseball postseason, and it begins October the 3rd. Go to MLB.com/postseason for a full schedule.
8 punch outs for Pfister. That's one off his high of the year this year. That just happened a few starts ago. 7 innings against Toronto, matched it with 9 strikeouts.
6 of them are looking, so he's gotten the benefit of the doubt from Mark Wegner a lot here early on.
Well, this guy surely does not look like the pitcher that took the mound for the Red Sox his last 2 times out. I mean, he's given up 11 runs in the last 6 innings, walked 5 batters in his last game, and that is over the course of 2 innings. And all of a sudden he comes out here today and he's just cutting up the corners like a seasoned chef. Got that little detail brush out there and just brushing that little black right on the edges. Number 7 detail brush. Is that the one you use when you do your window panes?
If I did them, I might use that. Pulled to third to retire this side on the force out at second base.
third player in Major League Baseball history with 25 or more home runs and 100+ RBI in the first 4 seasons of his career, joining the great Joe DiMaggio and Albert Pujols. Chris Davis, second player in athletics history to hit 40 or more home runs in back-to-back seasons. He joins Jimmy Fox, a very select company that Abreu and Davis joined.
Turned out to be a pretty good deal for Oakland, getting Chris Davis from Milwaukee. 5th inning here at Great American Ballpark. Back to work Jackson Stevens. Walked 1, allowed 1 hit, struck out 2. He's retired 6 in a row and 10 of the last 11. Going through the lineup here for the 2nd time. He told you about that last start. He retired the first 10. He got banged around for 5 straight hits and 5 runs in the 4th inning of that game against the Cardinals. This year at AAA was 7-10. You go back 2015, he was a Florida State League All-Star when he won 12 games down there. 2 years ago, he was a Southern League All-Star when he won 8 and had a 3.3 ERA at AA Pensacola. This year, 7-10 with an ERA just under 5 at AAA.
You know, that's a very good minor league pedigree right there. And you got to remember that just about every one of those stops that you said that where Stevens was, and he was an all-star at each level.
Schebler into the corner. Tied game.
Oh, to finish my thought, home run or not, that's a good minor league pedigree. And he was probably the youngest player, or one of the youngest players, at every one of those minor league stops. Well, you talk about being the youngest player. How about Rafael Devers, 20 years old, and he is hitting the ball like a 10-year veteran.
His 10th of the year. He didn't make his big league debut until late in July. Rafael Devers.
I mean, there are so many teams out there, and way more teams that would never give a 20-year-old a chance in the major leagues than a team like the Red Sox, who decides to give a young man like that a chance. Now, you could say, well, they ran out of other options. They traded away Travis Shaw, the third baseman. They needed a third baseman. They had Sandoval over here. Pablo didn't work out. They paid him a ton of money just to go away. And they're looking around trying to make a deal for a third baseman, and they weren't able to do one. So they had a kid in the minor leagues who had a very good history of hitting. But at 20 years old, he comes up here, and boy, he has really helped this Boston club climb.
Well, it happens like that a lot. You're looking around for something that you think you need, and you have it right in your backyard. You don't even know it.
Well, I'm not sure it happens a lot, but when it does happen, it's worth noticing. And I've always thought that there are certain players that don't need that extra time in the minor leagues. I mean, I've always thought that if you're from a pitching standpoint, if you throw a shutout or a very dominating low hit game in A ball or in AA, that game would compute and translate into a very good game at the big league level. Now, your bad games may be twice as bad at the big league level than your good games. But good professional baseball is good professional baseball. Doesn't matter what level it's at.
Well, after the home run, a walk to Jackie Bradley Jr. And so Tucker Barnhart to the mound to talk with the 23-year-old Stevens. 1-1, top of the 5th. Home run by Rafael Devers here in this inning is brought Boston even.
You know, and the other thing that will keep some teams from calling a young player like Devers up is that, well, we don't want to get that arbitration clock going too soon. What if he doesn't work out up here? And he's already eaten up a few days or a few weeks or a couple of months of big league time that may at a later date cost us a full year of arbitration and or free agency. Well, when you have winning on your mind, that kind of stuff isn't necessarily the top consideration.
What's the saying, or how's the saying go? Necessity is the mother of invention. They needed a third baseman. They found what they needed, and he's done a heck of a good job. Toronto, by the way, has added 3 in the bottom of the 3rd and now lead the Yankees 5-0 after 3.
Well, the hitters aren't happy with the strike zone Mark Wegner has up there today. We've already commented about the conversation Joey Votto has had with him at the plate after being rung up. You can see the reaction there by Sandy Leon as that pitch looked down but rung up for a strike. Keeps the game going.
See Suarez in on the edge of the grass at 3rd as Leon will fly out here to left field. That's the first out of the inning. Now let's see, we're just 12 days now, 12 days away on the countdown to face-off for the Blue Jackets home opener at Nationwide Arena. Countdown to face-off presented by your local participating Wendy's. Get to see you have the pleasure of seeing Brian Giesenslaw do his very good pregame, between period and postgame work. Fox Sports Ohio for the Blue Jackets. There's a busy guy now. Hardly any time between seasons. Certainly they overlap in the spring when hockey is ending, baseball is beginning, and not much time at all between the end of the baseball season and the beginning of the hockey season. Brian Giesenslaw, a busy guy. Who knows? Maybe this is game 1 today for that youngster. Keeping the sun off the baby's face. Had some people stop by the booth here yesterday, Chris, from Australia. 2 teenage boys, maybe early teens, their first ever baseball game. Said, how do you like it? Well, we don't really understand what's going on.
Other than that, it was great.
Yeah.
So I asked him how the food was, and that's when we got the thumbs up.
Nothing like ballpark food, man. In the air, caught, but no throw to first. They're trying to bunt the runner along. A little soft liner right back to Stevens. Joey tried to get back over there to the bag.
Now that was Jeanette trying to get over there, and he's going to cover that bag anyway.
So after the home run and the walk, the fly out and the bunt out. Now Bogarts with 1 on, 2 out, 1 in, 1-1 game here in the 5th.
This is where you really bear down if you're Stevens. Now you don't want to start getting into the rest of this lineup. Pedroia, Benintendi, Betts. You make this guy the 3rd out right here.
Bogarts today has grounded out twice to the shortstop. 2 for 8 in this series.
A lot more breaking balls for Jackson Stevens, the 3rd time through the order here. But I was very impressed. First time through, was almost every pitch was a fastball. Moved it around, changed just a little bit of speed on it, a little finger pressure. Love that pitch right there. That's his two-seam sinker. Looks like he takes just a little bit off of it, and you can really see from the center field camera that ball coming back off the plate in towards a right-hander and also sinking. He's much more impressive this time out than his last time. Well, he's thrown the same pitch the last couple of pitches, and really rather than try to just nibble on the corner on that pitch will be just as good even if it catches the center of the plate. As long as it's down, it's got downward movement. Very hard pitch to elevate if you're a hitter.
Bradley Jr. over there at first. Runner going. He went around, says the home plate umpire Mark Wegner. Strikeout to Bogarts. Third for Stevens. We're even at 1. Rocket arms. Last 2 American League pitchers with 300 strikeouts. This is Wednesday. How about Chris Sale of these Boston Red Sox, becoming just the 2nd pitcher in Red Sox history, 300 or more strikeouts. He did it with 13 of them on Wednesday in their 9-0 win against Baltimore. Pedro Martinez the other with 313 back in 1999. Our Quicken Loans Rocket arms. He will definitely go in as the #1 starter for Boston into the postseason.
Well, if you think about Sale and the number of strikeouts that he gets, of course he eclipsed the 300 mark, and that puts him way above everybody else. And then their reliever down there, Craig Kimbrell, who strikes out maybe what, 2 an inning.
Almost 2 an inning.
I mean, those are Aroldis Chapman type numbers in Chapman's prime. So it's hard to go to Boston and not feel a cool breeze.
Particularly in the winter.
That one got Wegner right on the left arm. He gives the thumbs up. He's all right. Yowzer.
That one, as they say, will leave a mark.
Yeah.
He says, don't worry, it's not my right arm. I still call those strikes. Severler bounced out his first time, broke a bat, rolled out to Moreland at first base. Moreland will handle this one. Last home game of the year. Taking a look at some of the home numbers. How about our IGS bringing the energy feature today? Reds leaders at Great American Ballpark this year. Cozart with a way above 300 average. Suarez with the home runs. Votto game-winning RBIs. Adam Duvall. Votto with the runs. Billy with the stolen bases. Our Reds leaders here at Great American this year as the Reds close out the home portion of the 2017 schedule here this afternoon against Boston. They win today, they'll go 40-41 at home. They lose, they'll be 39-42. Duvall called out his first time. And Doug Fister's last 2 starts combined went 6. He's at 4 1/3 now. He's allowed 1 run, 4 hits in this game with 8 strikeouts. I really enjoyed his first success as a member of the Detroit Tigers. Doug Fister came over there in a trade in 2011 from Seattle, and in 10 starts for the Tigers had a 1.79 ERA. That's really when he blossomed onto the scene. People start figuring out who he was.
Well, Fister's always been a guy that has kind of changed his delivery a little bit from here to there, always trying to take advantage of different angles and so on. He has never had the blazing fastball. So he's always had to convince managers and general managers that he can get it done with command.
Tough play. Devers tried to barehand it, could not come up with it. Duvall's aboard. That'll be ruled a base hit.
Well, he's playing all the way very deep at third base against Adam Duvall, and the ball comes up. It's got a lot of spin on it right here. Now, if it takes a nice big hop, you're going to be able to get it, but you see where he gets it on the short hop right there. Do or die. Duvall ends up with a base hit. Maybe the Reds can get something going here with 1 out and a man on.
Duvall snaps an 0 for 19 with that base hit. He'll take it. Now it's Barnhart. Big year 2017 for Tucker Barnhart. Not that he didn't last year, but he really established himself as a frontline catcher this year with the Reds. He and his wife and welcomed in the first child of their family, and now the new contract just a couple of days ago. We'll always remember 2017. It's a pop-up, and that's the second out of the inning. The Reds 2018 group tickets, hospitality areas, and party areas are on sale now. Pick a date for your group and enjoy one of the newest and most luxurious options, the Jack Casino Super Suite. Climate-controlled space with an upscale buffet. Much more is perfect for groups of 30 to 40. Book today at reds.com/groups. 2 out for Stevens. Quickly down 2 strikes. Duvall an infield single with 1 out. He's perched over there at first, and Jackson Stevens floats this one out into center. That's going to fall for a hit. That's going to move Duvall to third. Wild throw goes into the dugout, and the run will score. And the Reds have regained the lead here in the bottom of the 5th at 2-1 on an errant throw by Jackie Bradley Jr. Sailed way over the head of Devers at third, and down into the camera well it went.
Kind of a crazy play right here. Stevens comes up, dumps one right in there. They give him the go-ahead to swing. And now Duvall is running hard. And I mean, he's coming around second base. They're going to try to throw him out of third. And Jackie Bradley just airmails the throw over the head of the third baseman. The question I have, though, because Devers loses his glove, did he throw the glove at the baseball and did it make contact with the baseball? Because in that case, the runner would get third base. It did not make contact with the ball, so the umpires are going to talk about it. Brian Price is asking the same question right here at Mark Wegner. He's going, all right, we asked the other umpires to get together right here and asked them if they saw whether that ball or whether the glove made contact with the baseball when Devers tossed it in the air. Devers may not even know that rule.
Here's another look at it.
If you can throw your glove at the ball, no problem. No violation of the rules. If it hits the baseball, though, that's when there's a penalty involved. Usually you see the glove being thrown by an outfielder on a batted ball. Anyway, the Reds are able to push one across and they take the lead.
Jackson Stevens' second hit of his career, and he's now out at second base. Billy Hamilton will try to bring him in. Billy's been called out on strikes twice. Finds himself here in the hole.
And Billy looks like he's kind of running to first base as he's taking that swing right there. An Ichiro Suzuki attempt.
Hit hard, fair, into the right field corner. That'll bring Stevens to the plate. Billy to second, and he will easily get around there and head into third with a triple for Billy Hamilton. And the Reds now lead it 3-1 as Billy comes up with his 10th triple of the year.
Boy, one of the most exciting plays in baseball is when you get to see Billy Hamilton run the bases, slashing it down the right field line. And look out, clear the space on the base paths. Hamilton takes a couple of looks and says, I'll be cruising right in there. Thank you very much.
First time he's reached double digits in triples in his career. He had 8 back in 2014, his first full year. 10 of them now this year. RBI for Hamilton, number 38. Carl Willis, the pitching coach of the Red Sox, out on the mound. Here comes Mark Wegner.
You may remember Carl Willis. He pitched for the Reds back in 1984 and 1986. He was with the World Series winners when the Twins won it in 1991. He played about 10 or 11 years in the major leagues overall. Good guy. Pitching coach. This is his third stop as a pitching coach. He was with the Indians, the Mariners, and now with the Red Sox and John Farrell. We nicknamed him the Wanderer. I won't get into why.
Action now in the bullpen for Boston. Robbie Scott, the left-hander, begins to throw. Now, this looked like it was going to be an easy inning for Pfister after he got Barnhart to pop up. The pitcher up, runner at first, 2 out. Figured he's going to get into the dugout, keep this game tied. Hit by Stevens, the throwing error by Bradley Jr.
Well, you think what happened in the inning, it all started with that little ground ball down the third baseline by Duvall. I mean, the Reds really haven't hit the ball hard in the inning except for the triple by Billy Hamilton. Everything else is a little squirt shot.
Cozart retired here. The inning is over, but the Reds get a pair. Billy's triple part of it. 3-1 Reds.
RBIs at GABP this season, including this one, July 19th versus the Diamondbacks. Walk-off RBI single. Hamilton scores. Reds win in walk-off fashion. Final home game of the 2017 season. Fan Appreciation Day. The Reds trying to go out on a winning note.
Well, if they can get the win today against Boston, it'll only be their second victory against them. They came into this game at 1-11 in the regular season against the Red Sox. Of course, that doesn't count that 1975 World Series when the two teams met for the first time ever. The Reds winning out there 4-3, wrapping up Game 7 on the hit by Joe Morgan. We had Joe up here Friday. He was talking about Sparky Anderson and the meeting, so to speak, that he had with the team. What was it, the 5th inning in Game 7 when they were down 3-0?
Yeah, they had 12 outs to go, and Sparky got them before they came into the dugout. There's only one way into the dugout there at Fenway. As they stopped trying to hit home runs. He said, "What? Let bench Perez and Morgan do it."
Perez hit the homer in the 6th to make it 3-2. Rose's hit scored Griffey to tie it in the 7th. Morgan's hit scored Griffey to win it ultimately in the 9th. Here Jackson Stevens, his 6th inning of work. Starts that he has made for the Reds. His first one went 5 back in July. His last one went 3 2/3. Diving stop. Jeanette gets up, throws, got him at first. What a play by Jeanette to take a hit away from Dustin Pedroia.
Boy, Scooter Jeanette came to play. And he goes a long way to make this one. I mean, he's diving towards the right fielder. When he comes and finally gets that ball, comes up and makes the strong throw to Joey Votto. From one second baseman to another. He takes care of Pedroia. I'll tell you, Stevens has been the beneficiary of some good defense, but he's throwing strikes, and the defense is on the balls at their feet behind him, ready to make those plays.
Now, Pedroia has been on the giving end of that play many times. Very fine second baseman, and this time
Benintendi looked like he was going to shorten up and bunt. The Reds are giving him the bunt right now if he wants to take it. I mean, they're down by 2. A home run still only makes it a 1-run game. I mean, in this ballpark, trying to get the tying run to the plate, I would think it'd be a very important thing.
Wandy Peralta now throwing in the Reds bullpen.
One of these comeback fastballs right here. They call front door fastballs. Start off the plate, come right in there, and boy, missed by a whisker.
Toward the stands in left, long run Duvall, and Adam can't get it. I'll go on inside the golf zone with Jimmy Hanlon, presented by Varmint Guard tonight, with highlights from this week's Tour Championship, plus helpful tips to bring down your scores. The golf zone tees off tonight at 8 on Fox Sports Ohio and streaming on Fox Sports Go. Benintendi has walked and he's lined out here tonight. To Votto. Stevens covering. 3-1 on the putout. So if he can get it done right here against Mookie Betts, Jackson Stephens will have turned in 3 1-2-3 innings. He'll have gotten himself into position for his first ever big league quality start. He's sitting at 88 pitches. And he gets ahead of Betts. He struck out, lined out. He's 0 for 2. Hamilton again in center. Billy back. Easily gets to the spot. 3 up, 3 down go the Red Sox. 3 1-2-3 innings here today for Jackson Stephens. Sports Ohio is brought to you by Cincinnati Children's, changing the outcome together, and by your local Ford dealers. Ford, go further. Votto batting first, and he lines one into right field. Votto 2 for 3 today.
Now, the only time that they have retired Joey Votto today, they've done it by throwing fastballs to him. That was in the first at bat when he struck out looking. His last base hit came on a curveball, dumped it into right field, and this one comes on a first pitch curveball.
Here's Jeanette. Scooter's double in the first gave the Reds the early advantage in this game. He was called out on strikes in the 4th. Scooter's thought that was a little low, but Mark Wegner been pitcher friendly here today in terms of the strike zone. Evens the count with his call. The Scooter goes down and get it. Lines it into center field. They're going to call that. I'll swing at that. That's exactly what he did, and he's on for the second time.
Scooter's going to get his hits. I mean, he's shown himself to have a tremendous offensive season, but you're much better off having him hit down there than trying to get that ball across the letters to him where he's launched him into the moon deck, or today would be the sun deck. So with nobody out, the Reds have reached the first 2 base runners.
Here's Suarez still trying to reach base for the first time since his return to the lineup after missing 3 days on paternity leave. 0 for 4 on Friday. 0 for 3 yesterday, 0 for 2 today. Jeanette at first, Votto out there at second, nobody out. Pfister trying to get through the 6th. He's at 85 pitches. And Suarez called out on strikes. Second time that he's been rung up today. 9 of them now by Pfister, ties his season high.
Ooh.
Every Reds player that has struck out in this game has been a called 3rd strike. John Farrell out of the dugout, manager of the Red Sox. They've had action in the bullpen. Robbie Scott was up and throwing earlier. And Robbie Scott will be beckoned from the pen. Doug Pfister in his first start here against the Reds as a Red Sox player is finished for the afternoon. 5 innings and a third. He will exit. New pitcher on. Our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. To be able to provide disaster relief immediately, help people affected by Hurricanes Harvey and Irma by visiting redcross.org or texting the words Red Cross to 90999 to make a $10 donation. Great American Ballpark for the final time in 2017. Reds trying to salvage a win in this series against Boston and leading 3-1 and threatening to add more here in the 6th inning. New pitcher on for Boston. One of the 4 lefties out of their bullpen is Fernando Abad.
He's an experienced lefty. He's been around since he was 24 years old. That's when he broke in with the Houston Astros. He's also played with the Washington Nationals, Oakland, Minnesota last year and with Boston a little bit last year. This game number 46.
First time he's appeared in this series. It's a lefty-lefty matchup with Schebler at the plate. Scott's done a nice job against left-handers. 276.
Well, Schebler has what we would call reverse splits, meaning he hits left-handers better than he hits right-handers. Statistically, this year anyway, you see the difference right here is what I'm talking about. And a lot of managers will scratch their heads and they'll say, well, I'll keep the right-hander in there then. But I think in the long run of his career, you know, left-handers will eventually be more difficult for him to tend with.
Just your typical day out on the water. Boston starter Pfister, 5 1/3, 9 hits. Didn't walk anyone, struck out 9, equaling a season high. 286 pitches.
All right, last 2 pitches, one fastball up above the strike zone, the last one a slider. And that's going to send Leone out to talk to his pitcher to make sure that they're on the right page here. Reds are not likely to let the runners run right here. When the lead runner is Joey Votto, you're not going to really send the runners. You got to figure Schebler's waiting for a strike right here. He'll be hacking. And probably a fastball. Breaking ball.
Fair ball to first, handled by Moreland. He'll step on the bag. Runners move up. That's the second out. I'm going to say Toronto now has taken a 9-1 lead over the Yankees in Toronto. Red Sox though in the short end here as we play in the bottom of the 6th.
Yeah, the Red Sox trying to extend their 5-game winning streak. Of course, 2 of those happen to be right here in Cincinnati. First 2 games of this series, Friday, Saturday.
Well, they've been rolling. There's no question about that. 14-6 this month. 15 games over since the All-Star break. Now Duvall has given an intentional pass to load him up for Barnhart. Turn Tucker around and bat him from the right side. Talked about the Red Sox bullpen and how good they have been. Last 4 games, no runs in 12 innings. That stretches to even what we saw a note earlier, 18 1/3 without allowing a run. Barnhart splits this year, 282 batting from the left side, 228 from the right side.
Well, the career numbers, the splits that is on Barnhart lefty-righty are even more significant than that. He's right at 200 when he bats right-handed career-wise, and he's at 272 from the other side of the plate. That's what the Red Sox are bargaining on right here.
Patrick Kivlahan is on deck to bat for Jackson Stevens. gave the Reds 6 very good innings today, and now they're hoping their bullpen has 3 innings in them. 2-2. Runners at every base with 2 out. And now they'll all be moving on a 3-2 pitch with 2 men down and a runner at every base. And here goes Sandy Leon again back to the mound. Bogarts will come in as well. This won't take long because here comes Mark Wegner.
Biggest pitch of the ball game so far.
Let's see what Tucker can come up with here. Bases loaded, 2 out, and a 3-2 pitch. Bogarts over to Moreland. Tucker retired. Reds threaten, but leave them loaded, and we are through 6. Summary as we enter inning number 7. Jackson Stephens easily his best big league start. 1 earned run, 6 innings worth of work, 3 strikeouts, including this, a base hit by Jackson Stephens. This is part of the 2-run 5th inning. Bradley Jr. unloads on that ball that goes on to play, so the 1-run scored, and then Billy Hamilton does this, a triple that scored Stephens easily from third. 2-run bottom of the 5th. A Honda game summary through 6 shows the Reds in front in this game 3-1 over the Boston Red Sox, and now it hit them 9-2. Jackson Stephens in line if he can get it for his 3rd win of the season.
You know, every time I see a pitcher like Jackson Stephens gets a base hit, it reminds me of Joe Nuxhall the time when Nuxhall would do a post-game show. And if a pitcher ever got a hit, especially a big one like Stephens would do, the first question Joe would always ask that guy is, well, tell me about your hitting first.
It got him loosened up, didn't it?
Oh, yeah. Those were the days. Good job by Stephens. Really good job. And now he gives way to Wandy Peralta.
Wandy, since coming off of a 2.5 week stint with a sore hip, has appeared twice, both against the Cardinals, covering an inning and a third of no-run, 1-hit baseball. So the Reds here hope they can go with 3 pitchers, 1 inning each. Peralta here in the 7th. I guess if it all lays out the way they would like, Lorenzen in the 8th. And then Iglesias in the 9th. We'll see how it shakes out here. 3-1 Reds, 7th inning. Into a shift. Jeanette on the outfield grass. And Moreland, who broke an 0 for 19 yesterday with that 3-run homer in the 6th inning, is 0 for 3 today. He's grounded out to 3rd, short, and 2nd. Here's Rafael Devers. Breakthrough year really this year for Wandy Peralta, despite the numbers that you see overall, a 3.83 ERA. He's been better than that. He's one of the mainstays that Brian talks about heading into 18 out of the bullpen. Devers home run in the 5th. The only run Boston has thus far is 10th of the year. 1 hit yesterday, a double. 2 hits Friday, a double and a home run. So he's had an extra base hit each of the 3 games, including a pair of homers.
Pretty good barehanded grab.
Nothing like a souvenir baseball. Here it is. Really didn't bother to get out of the seat. I mean, he was calm, cool, and collected making that catch. So is Peralta as he gets the strikeout here of Devers. Two-thirds of the way home here in the 7th for Peralta. Now Jackie Bradley Jr. Hamilton's triple back in that 2-run 5th made those runs earned runs, but you just never know how Pfister would have approached Hamilton if he would have approached him differently had that error not occurred and Boston having already given up a run in the inning. Leone on deck. Ball 4, so a 2-out walk to Bradley. Leone now looks like he's going to be called back. And Boston will employ a pinch hitter here. They go to Hanley Ramirez. He appeared in the game Friday off the bench. The veteran Hanley Ramirez will bat for Leone, with this Boston team clearly being able to see that the Yankees are trailing big hoping that they can take advantage of that. So with the announcement of Ramirez, here comes Brian Price. He will go to the home plate umpire, so the Reds will make a double switch here. Peralta 2/3 of an inning with a walk and a strikeout. Lorenzen has been throwing in the Reds bullpen. Patrick Kivlahan out of the dugout. He's going to go into the game. And we'll step aside. We'll come back with more right after this. The date for this year's Fox Sports Ohio Reds Fest, presented by PNC Bank, December 1st and 2nd at the Duke Energy Convention Center. Don't miss 2 days of fan interaction with current and former Reds players. You can get autographs, take photos, and much more. For Reds Fest updates and event details, visit reds.com/RedsFest. Again, that's Friday, December the 1st, Saturday, December the 2nd at the Duke Energy Convention Center. Reds Fest 2017. Hanley Ramirez bats for Leon, so it's a righty-righty matchup. He pinch hit in the 9th inning on Friday and flied out. He's been their DH most of the time. And against Lorenzen. On the year, 241 with 22 home runs. That'll get out of play. Moreland grounded out. Devers struck out. Bradley Jr. draws the walk. Ramirez announced as the pinch hitter. Double switch by Brian Price. Patrick Kivlahan now in left field. He's in the 9 spot. Lorenzen in the 7. Nice breaking ball there. Lorenzen puts Ramirez down. Michael gets the job done in the 7th. And it is stretch time on this final home game of 2017 here at Great American Ballpark, with the Reds up by a count of 3-1. And we will stay right here for the singing of God Bless America by the very talented foursome down on the field, the Mystics. We'll sing God Bless America.
Salute the men and women of our armed forces, as well as those who serve to protect in our local police and fire departments. At this time, please help us honor these brave men and women and all our veterans of service, and welcome the Mystics as they lead us in the singing of God Bless America.
God bless America, the land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountain to the prairies to the ocean, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home, my home, sweet home. Thank you.
Well, for the Reds fans here, we're in Columbus. Make sure you tune in on Sports Time Ohio tomorrow for Buckeye Weekly with Rick Pizzo and James Laurinaitis as they talk about the Buckeyes' blowout win yesterday against UNLV. It's all coming up tomorrow on our sister networks, Fox Sports, Sports Time Ohio, and streaming on Fox Sports Go.
Brandon Workman is a new pitcher for the Red Sox. He was a starter last year. He had a record of 1-10 back in 2014. Missed last year with some injuries. Came up through the Red Sox organization. A lot of curveballs, a lot of cutters when you're facing him.
Christian Vasquez, who started behind the plate in each of the first 2 games of this series, takes over for Sandy Leon, and he's in the 9 spot now in the order, so he'll be due up first in the 8th.
Workman has been good lately. He's not allowed a run for quite a while now. This bullpen that the Red Sox are featuring, boy, they can come right at you and shut you down.
About 2/3 of an inning with 1 intentional walk. So the Boston relief pitchers numbers that we were telling you about earlier started the day 18 consecutive innings without allowing a run, intact as they work here in the bottom of the 7th. Kivlahan is retired on that ball by Betts in right. Hamilton a big triple back in the 5th.
That's a pretty good yacker. That Workman fires up there, back-to-back pitches to Hamilton. You don't see too many over the top right-handed breaking balls like that. He ended up having Tommy John surgery at the end of 2014. Been a long road back for him. Missed 2015. Pitched some down in the minor leagues last year and finally made it back to the big leagues again this year. Excellent at bat by Billy Hamilton after being down 0-2 after seeing the first 2 curveballs. Workman ends up walking them. So now the Red Sox have something to be concerned about with Hamilton and his speed at first base. Remember that Hamilton really likes to try to attempt to steal on the first pitch.
He's sitting at 58. He is the major league leader in that department. Of course, it's been a while since he has stolen a base. D. Gordon had one yesterday, so he's at 56. Goes Art with 1 on, 1 out. Billy with a pretty good lead. Billy trying to become the first Reds player to get to 60 stolen bases in a year since Eric Davis did it back in 1986. Of course, he stole 80 that year.
Well, that's a big lead. And unless Workman is hiding his best move, that's not much of a throw over. Sometimes a pitcher will have an A move and a B move, and you show the B move first, and it's kind of slow and deliberate, and then you quickly zip them over there. That's it.
Oh, he got him there. Billy started to go. Now they've got him in a rundown and a bad throw. Billy's going to end up at third base.
And nobody at the plate. And here comes Hamilton.
It's a race to the bag, and Billy with a headlong slide. What a play right there by Billy Hamilton. From an out to a run. Yes, indeed, sir.
at its tiniest. Billy Hamilton picked off, gets in a rundown. Where's the pitcher? Nowhere to be found. Throw goes by him all the way to the front of the dugout, and Hamilton scoots around to third, and there's nobody covering the plate. Wow.
That got him going.
Does he make things happen or what? I'm going to watch that about 100 times in the offseason.
That'll go on Jim Day's highlight list for the year right there. You can bet on that.
Well, that ought to go on the Red Sox defensive low-light list, because you never leave bases unprotected, especially home. Of course, no one ever thought Billy Hamilton would score from first base on an overthrow that goes to in front of the dugout. Wow, Billy Hamilton, a day at work.
Billy does get credit, by the way, for a stolen base on that, his 59th. And the throwing error is charged to Dustin Pedroia.
He gets credit for a stolen base on that when he was picked off, and the throwing error, the ball goes by the. Oh well, good for him.
Number 59.
He actually really ought to get more than one. I mean, if you're going to give him one stolen base, you should give him more than one stolen base, because if you're going to give him stolen base of second, okay, but he goes to third on the throw that goes in front of the dugout, and now here's where he steals home because there's nobody there. That's the stolen base. I don't know if by the rules you're allowed to give him that as a stolen base, but
well, they're checking on that.
If you're going to give him second, you got to give him home.
All right, Boston will make a pitching change here in the bottom of the 7th inning. More in a moment.
Well, there's the error, goes by the pitcher, the bad throw. Hamilton now on the error goes to third. And he said, hey, you know what? Nobody's at home except me. Home alone for Billy Hamilton. Now I'm only going to have to watch it 98 times over the winter.
Well, Devers tried to take off the third baseman and get to the plate also, but Billy left him simply in the dust.
I wonder if he hurt his face as he went head first in there to home. There was a little congestion there, but looks like they're attending to him in the dugout.
Yeah.
Put little butterflies on there.
Steve Bauman, the head trainer, Tomas Vera, another one of the Reds trainers, they're working on Billy.
Well, that's a fun play to watch.
That's worth the price of admission right there, that play. New pitcher is Robbie Scott. That breaks that streak of 18+ scoreless innings by the Red Sox bullpen coming into this game.
Boy, Scott really gives you the we're looking to see where maybe Billy got his the side of his face injured a little bit. Maybe the helmet bounced off the ground and came back up and cut him on the side of the head.
Yeah, that's what it looked like there. But you're right, there was a lot of congestion, arms and legs.
Well, Scott gives you a little different look, doesn't he? A little cross arm left-hander, throws way across his body, drops his arm angle down a little bit. We'll see it from the side. It really doesn't give you the feel of what it's like to be in the batter's box for Votto. That was an awkward swing. He'll walk it though if you give him a chance.
Gets Votto ahead of him, down behind him 3-1. He comes back to get him. And that puts an end to the bottom of the 7th. At the shortstop spot. Now Votto on the first base side of things, diving to his right. And then this one by Scooter Gennett. Heck of a play there. So you've got Suarez, you got Votto, you got Gennett, all in support of very good work today by Jackson Stevens. The Reds lead 4-1 heading into the 8th inning here this afternoon. Michael Lorenzen, who came on to strike out the pinch hitter Hanley Ramirez in the 7th, stays in there now and gets Christian Vasquez, the catcher who came into the game, in the 9 spot. Vasquez started the first 2 games of this series. Hitting .298 with 5 home runs. The big RBI double Friday was 1 for 4. He's 3 for 8 in the series. Raisel Iglesias up and throwing now in the Reds bullpen. From 3-0 to 3-2. And he loses him, so the leadoff man on here in the 8th. Make sure you follow Reds baseball after the game is over with Reds Live post game presented by Performance Kings Honda. There's the Fox condominium ready to liven up in the not too distant future. A recap of the game, interview from the field. Yeah, they're getting things going down there, Joel. Into left by Bogart, so here come the Red Sox in the 8th. 2 on, nobody out. All right, so they have changed the scoring on that play. Billy Hamilton, initially credited with a steal, now is charged with a caught stealing. So he does not get his 59th. Brian Price out of the dugout. Iglesias has been throwing in the bullpen. He's going to bring him into the game. He's also going to make another switch here. So Michael Lorenzen gets 1 batter out. That was the strikeout of Ramirez in the 8th. Phillip Ervin is going to come into the game. Ivlahan is going to leave and eventually into the game to pitch. We Raisel Iglesias for the Reds. We'll straighten it all out. Lay it out for you when we come back. Raisel Iglesias. Phillip Ervin does go into left field. Kivlahan leaves the game. And Raisel Iglesias, who is the major league leader in 2-inning saves this year, comes on now with 2 on, nobody out in the 8th.
We figured we would see him in this ball game. Brian Price was betting that Michael Lorenzen would be able to pitch the end of the 7th, which he did, no problems. Got a strikeout there on 3 pitches and then pitched the 8th. But now it's Raisel Iglesias, and he's going to have to be to the rescue. The Red Sox have the tying run at the plate.
He has 8 2-inning saves this year. That's the best in the big leagues. Dustin Pedroia today 0 for 3, robbed of a hit back in the 6th inning on that nice diving play to his left by Jeanette. Danny Graves had 10 2-inning saves 17 years ago. 8 of them this year for Iglesias. Two and two. Pedroia disagreed.
You can see the strategy the Reds are trying to do with Pedroia, making sure you don't come inside on him. Watch his front foot. I mean, he is clearing that front foot, the hips, waiting for something inside. That's why they're going down and away with him.
Votto will chase it, but it's out of play. To the mound. They'll only get the 1. Right off the glove of Iglesias. He's upset with himself, thinking he may have been able to turn a double play had he controlled that ball.
Well, even if you don't get the double play, you at least keep a double play in order. Probably turning, get the secondary runner at second base. But now the Red Sox have second and third. And Andrew Benintendi at the plate. This makes for an interesting subplot.
Well, it sure does. He's 0 for 2 today. Hit the ball hard, but out in the 4th. Votto, a very nice play against him in the 6th. Sitting at 88 runs batted in. Guy's been a very good clutch hitter for the Red Sox in his limited time in the big leagues. Second half of last year and this year, to the tune of the .358 average with runners in scoring position. There he is this year in the American League. Right up there with Jose Abreu.
Impressive.
For a young man only 23 years old. Two and one. Toronto now leads the Yankees 9-3 in the 7th in Toronto. Reds lead here 4-1 over Boston. Again, the magic number at the start of the day for the Red Sox, 5 to clinch the East. Popped up, but that will get out of play. Big crowd today, 25,545. Beautiful afternoon to come on out to the ballpark. Last chance you'll have here in 2017. They're seeing a pretty good ball game today. Reds led 1-0 after 1. Boston tied it in the 5th on a home run by Devers. Reds get 2 in the bottom of the 5th. One more in the 7th. Lead here 4-1 in the 8th.
You know, you can tell by the way that Andrew Benintendi sees those pitches that he's got great pitch recognition. After seeing fastballs at 97 miles an hour, Iglesias comes right in there with a hard slider just below the knees, right below the bottom of the strike zone, and Benintendi really never even flinches.
And he walks it. So now with Mookie Betts at the plate, the bases are loaded with 1 out. Betts today is 0 for 3. He's another one. Been very, very good with runners in scoring position. 351 this year. Runners in scoring position for Betts. In this series, he's only 1 out of 7. Leadoff walk by Lorenzen to Vasquez. Hit the left by Bogarts. That was the pitching change. Pedroia hit one hard back to the mound with Iglesias in there. Runners moved up. He was retired. Benintendi on a 3-2 pitch drew the walk. Now Betts at 2-1. Mitch Moreland on deck. 2-2. That's Vasquez, the runner at third. Bogarts at second. Benintendi in the shadows over at first. He laid into that ball, but way foul down the left field side. Got him excited behind that Red Sox dugout. A lot of Red Sox fans here.
That pitch at 96 miles an hour. Yet Mookie Betts is able to pull it, not only foul, but to pull a foul about 400 feet.
Swung so hard there, got his chain all tangled up.
Well, they got to figure out what the strategy is going to be from here on out. Suarez doing some interpreting. Barnhart doing the talking, caulking, and Iglesias doing the nodding.
Betts trying to come up big here for the Red Sox. Iglesias the same on the red side of things. Hard toward left center field. Irvin on the run. Irvin cannot get it. Vasquez will score. Second run coming to the plate. Third running in Benintendi coming to the plate. 3-run double for Betts. And the game is tied.
Well, a pretty good at bat right there by Betts. I mean, he fouled off a couple of good pitches, and finally on a slider that just kind of spins right up there. He lines that ball over the head of the defensive replacement out in left field, and all three of them come around to score, and it is a tied Wago here at Great American Ballpark.
Only the second blown save of the year for Raisel Iglesias. Now it's Moreland.
Well, like most of the letdowns the Reds pitching has done this year, this is directly related to not being able to throw the ball over the plate. A leadoff walk and then a walk to Andrew Benintendi, although it was a good at bat by Benintendi. But he finally didn't coax a walk. So 2 walks in the inning. So 2 of the 3 runs that have scored here have come on free passes.
The only other blown save by Iglesias this year was back on June the 11th against the Dodgers out there. Blown save number 2 here comes in the 8th, and there's still only 1 out.
You got one of those, do you? I think Jim Day needs one of those when he's down there in that hot camera well.
He's come up with something different. Leave the well. Suarez will get it. Moreland retired for the 4th time today, 2nd out of the inning. Oh, we've had some big plays here today. Jackson Stevens single. That came back in the 5th inning. Errant throw by the center fielder Jackie Bradley Jr. led to a run. The Hamilton caught stealing at first base, which turned out not to be because of the error. Billy raced around and scored. Now a bases loaded double by Betts that produced 3. And we are 4-4 here in the top of the 8th. Devers had a home run back in the 5th. Big hit indeed by Mookie Betts. Puts him at 99 RBIs. Suarez. No, the safe at the first and now safe at the plate. And the Red Sox have taken the lead. Mookie Betts hustling from 2nd to 3rd on that play by Suarez. Kept right on running around 3rd base.
Now it looks like Mookie Betts took some cue from Billy Hamilton's previous base running exploits. Nice play by Suarez, but the throw is off. And when Votto has to reach for it right there, Betts just never even stops. He said, what do I have to lose right there? If he's out, the inning is over. If he's safe, I've got a chance to score, and that he does.
Boy, speed has become a major part of this ball game.
Heads up play by Mookie Betts. Boston has scored 4 times here in the top of the 8th. In the air, left field, Irvin, inning over. But a big 8th for Boston. They get 4. And now lead for the first time today, 5-4. Season tickets, you can do that. Take your shot at the Swing for Your Seats event Saturday, October the 7th. You can step up to the plate, hit a home run, and get your 2018 season tickets for free. For additional information, simply call 513-765-7500 or visit Reds.com. DraftKings.com/swing. Rules and restrictions do apply. Changes for the Red Sox at third base now is Devin Marrero. Out of the game is Devers. And the new pitcher into the game is Addison Reed. Boston now leading 5-4, and all of a sudden with that Yankee deficit, Yankees looking to see their elimination number potentially drop to 3 if things stay the way they are there and here. Scooter hit it hard and right at Pedroia. Suarez now is 0 for 3. Reed pitched here in the game on Friday night, 1 1/3. Allowed 1 base runner. That was a hit by Barnhart. Former White Sox closer, former Mets closer. Earlier this year was very good out of the Mets bullpen.
Yeah, he was part of that 3-pronged bullpen that the Reds saw right out of the gate on Friday. He came in right after David Price and right before Craig Kimbrell. Those are the 3 hammers that they have in the bullpen. If you're looking forward for the Reds, I imagine that Iglesias is going to go back out for the top of the 9th. But after that, if you go into extra innings, you know, you've already used up your 3 best relievers. Peralta's been used, Lorenzen's been used, and then of course Iglesias.
And now Suarez on a check swing, rung up by Ben May. 2 out.
He's lost about every ball strike argument on the day.
Schebler bats with the bases empty. Kevin Shackelford throwing in the Reds bullpen. At least he was throwing. He's up in the bullpen right now. So we'll see if the Reds make a pitching change when they go to the 9th, or if Iglesias does indeed, as Chris alluded to, goes back out there. Schebler strikes out, and Addison Reed makes quick work of the Reds here in the bottom of the 8th. to you by Kroger. Stop by your neighborhood Kroger to say big store wide. Great food, low prices at Kroger. By Cincinnati USA Regional Tourism Network. Stay close to CincinnatiUSA.com. And by Toyota. For over 30 offers, visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. Remember, still 6 games remaining in this 2017 season. After today, we invite you to be ready 30 minutes before every game here on Fox Sports Ohio with Reds Live pregame presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing. Here's the setup for the Milwaukee series that begins on Tuesday. Dak McGuire makes his first big league start in that first game against 17-game winner Zach Davies. Homer Bailey against Brandon Woodruff on Wednesday, and Sal Romano and the Cincinnati native Brett Suter will pitch on Thursday. Kevin Shackelford on here to work the 9th inning. And Brock Holt pinch hits for the pitcher Reed. A 4-run top of the 8th for Boston has given them a 5-4 lead. Holt started at second base yesterday. Scored a run, drove in a run, but was 0 for 2 officially. Craig Kimbrell loosening now in the Boston bullpen. He shut the door in the game here on Friday, which was a 5-4 Boston final. Two and two. Lorenzen goes 1/3 of an inning, gives up 2 runs, 1 hit plus a walk. Iglesias 1 inning, 2 runs, 2 hits and a walk. Charged with his second blown save. He is the pitcher of record, as is Robbie Scott on the Boston side. Reds in the bottom of the 9th against Kimbrell. We'll have Phillip Ervin, Tucker Barnhart, and then a pinch hitter here for Shackelford. Reds in control of this game through 7, led 4-1. Trying to get a win for Jackson Stevens. He did turn in his first quality start. 1 run, 2 hits, 6 innings. Came undone in the top of the 8th, and now the Reds trying to manage to get themselves back in this thing, down a run. First things first, they need to hold Boston here in the 9th. Cozart cuts this ball off, and they get hold at first. And that'll be Christian Vasquez. He took over behind the plate for Leon. Part of a double switch and walked against Lorenzen to start the ill-fated top of the 8th. He walked. Benintendi, Chris talked about earlier, good at bat. He walked, and both ended up scoring on the double by Betts. Yankees trying to battle back in that game at Toronto. They trailed 9-1 after 5. It's now 9-5. The Yankees batting in the 8th. Cardinals are trailing 4-1 at Pittsburgh after 7. Cubs leading 3-0 at Milwaukee. That game is in the bottom of the 7th. Here it's 5-4 Boston in the top of the 9th. Jeanette to Votto, 2 out. Really to a 4th in the bottom of the 9th inning. He gave us this earlier as our Miller time moment of the game. He gets picked off here, gets in a rundown. Bad throw by Pedroia. He goes to second and now on to third. And when nobody covered the plate, here comes Billy. Gets in there with a head first slide. The big part right there, that 7th inning, which the Reds went up 4-1. That's our Miller time moment of the game. What an exciting play that was. Bogarts to Cozart. Inning over. Shackelford a 1-2-3 ninth. We go to the bottom of the 9th. Reds down a run.
Hamilton off of Hader. Walk-off home run versus the Brewers. Hader couldn't believe it. Billy Hamilton, of all people, took him yard. The Reds walked it off. Let's see if they've got one in them today. Final home game of 2017.
All right, thanks, Jim. Well, they need one base runner to have a chance to win in the bottom of the 9th inning, bring the tying run to the plate potentially. Billy's due up 4th. Phillip Ervin will lead it off. Then Barnhart. Then the pinch hitter for Shackelford. Anybody gets on, Hamilton. Down a run, 5-4. Ervin will bat for the first time. He came on as part of a double switch. Took over in left field for Kivlehan, who had taken over as part of a double switch earlier for Duvall. Reds about hit the Red Sox 9-5, but trail 5-4. Kimbrel against Ervin.
This is about as tough a challenge as you're going to find in all of baseball for the 9th inning. Kimbrel is having the kind of year in the American League that Kenley Jansen is having in the National League for the Dodgers, and they're both in right now the conversation for MVP of the league. I don't know if either of them will get it, but this guy just has been nails.
You mentioned earlier he's averaging basically 2 strikeouts an inning. ...121 strikeouts, 66 innings. Ervin at 271. Does have 3 home runs. First appearance in this series for Ervin. Spent most of the year at Louisville.
You know, the thing to notice about Kimbrel's fastball, and that last pitch is a great example. It almost looks like it has a second life. It gets halfway to the plate and then really starts to take off. I mean, when he throws 100, it's legit.
Ervin stays alive on a 100 MPH right there. In the air to shallow right. Betts handles it for the out. Here's Barnhart. Jesse Winker has emerged from the Reds dugout. He'll bat for Shackelford. Tucker today 0 for 3. After the Hamilton scamper around the bases on the pickoff at first in the 7th, Cozart struck out. That was against Workman. Robbie Scott came on, struck out Votto. Now Pedroia will throw out Barnhart. Reed had a 1-2-3-8. And now Kimbrel, the first 2 here in the 9th. Well, this shut down Boston bullpen, which did give up an unearned run. Charge to Workman in the 7th inning. Nonetheless, still been very, very good. Here's Winker now with 2 out. Jesse at 282. All out on strikes as a pinch hitter in the 8th inning yesterday against Carson Smith. Pinch hit in the 8th inning against Reed on Friday night and struck out. So he's 0 for 2 in the series. Three and one. He gets on. Hamilton would represent the winning run. Popped it up. It looks like it'll make the seats, and it will. Full count. Kimbrel at 34 saves on the year. Former Atlanta Brave. And very, very good for Boston. Chris alluded to the tops in the American League. A unique approach that he has. Winker stays alive. Irvin fly to right. Barnhart grounded out to second. Full count pitch coming now to Jesse Winker. Strike three call. Winker rung up. Down in order go the Reds in the 9th, and Boston, thanks to a 4-run 8th inning, highlighted by a 3-run double by Mookie Betts, win it over the Reds 5-4, sweep the series, and could, depending on what happens in that Yankees-Toronto game, lower their magic number to clinch the East to 3. 5-4 final. Boston a winner. Post-game show is next.